TheKickoutPodcast. We're the original team, the original duo. Before there was the third man, before there was a fourth man and a fifth man, it was just Ace and I. And my brother Ace, you've joined us back today.
No, since
Day one-ish. Down. Ace, so good to see you. So good to have you back.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to be here, man. We ain't done one of these in ages.
Yeah, no, we haven't. It's Money in the Bank weekend. How are you feeling about it? Are you excited for it? And who do you think is going to be the victor in the men's Money in the Bank match and the women's Money in the Bank?
So, very much looking forward to it. I mean, firstly, it's exciting that it's here in the UK, in London.
London, baby.
South London, where I was born and raised, kinda-ish. For the Money in the Bank, I do not. For the guys, I'm going to go with LA Knight, man. I'm just going to go with the obvious pick for me.
Yeah.
Exactly. And for the ladies, I'm struggling.
I think Io Sky.
Let's go with Io.
I'm going to go with Io Sky.
Yeah. I feel like the Puerto Rico pop that she got against Rhea
Yeah,
Ripley
I think that's
would have helped
changed the
100%.
trajectory for her.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
Civil War, Bloodline. Solo, Roman, Usos. Who you got?
I'm going to go with the Tribal Chief.
Oh, yeah?
And Solo again.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
Do you think there'll be new members of the Bloodline?
Tonight?
Do you think there'll be a swerve, the Rock's daughter?
I never thought of that.
You think the Rock's daughter or maybe God from NJPW? I think their contract's coming up.
I feel like we're going to begin. This is the beginning of the end of the Bloodline. I don't feel like we're going to get any more members for now.
But what would be great? I mean, it's probably not going to happen. But what would be great if the Rock's daughter joined the Bloodline and the Rock comes to save her at WrestleMania?
I like that a lot.
That's what I think they should do. I think that's what we're going to talk about with Money in the Bank. There's loads of matches that's going to happen, loads of action. We are here at the press. We had loads of wrestling, a lot of content you will see, fun interviews. We are looking forward to it. We're going to be at SmackDown. We're going to be at Money in the Bank. Come and say hi to us. And Ace Skillet, we out.
It's the Monday after Saturday, which means it's the Monday after Money in the Bank. I go by the name of Skillet. Welcome to a new episode of The Kick Out. Who am I here with? Who? Max, please introduce yourself, bro.
What's up, people? It's your boy Max, the WrestleManiac, if you will. You're tuning into another episode of The Kick Out Podcast.
Max, you're missing the trick there. You got to do the Wrestle Enthusiast, the WrestleManiac, and then you got to do If You Will.
I have to switch it up sometimes.
And who else do we have here?
Yo, it's your boy Scan, aka Scandus, the hip hop original, hip hop artist, journalist, all that good stuff, representing for the Kick Out Podcast.
And we have a special guest join with us today. A fella that I respect highly. I've met him. We've known him for a few years now. We've done a few press tours together in wrestling, and he works for the Daily Mirror. If I'm correct, you work for the Daily Mirror. Yeah?
That's correct.
And he's an avid Liverpool fan like myself. He goes by the name of Liam Llewellyn. Welcome to the Kick Out, Liam.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me on. I'm really excited to be here and to chat wrestling with you guys, man.
Well, we're going to talk everything about Money in the Bank, but before we do, let's find out a little bit more information about you, Liam. How long you've been a wrestling fan? Who was your favorites growing up, and who's your favorites today?
Right, yeah. So I have been a wrestling fan for at least 20 years now, because I'm 26 and I became a fan. I must have been about 5 or 6. Right. And it's because of my granddad. It's because of him why I'm a fan. I used to see him watching it on TV and being like 5, 6. I was only used to watching like cartoons and stuff in it. So then seeing these guys beating each other up on TV, it just I was just hooked on it. And as the years went by, my love for it just grew and grew. And it was the thing that my granddad and me done every week. It was at times it was the highlight of my week, being able to sit and watch wrestling with him, all the Raws, all the SmackDowns, all the pay-per-views. So yeah, that's how I became a fan of wrestling. Growing up, I'd say my number one was John Cena. So as you can imagine, seeing him for the first time on Saturday, I lost my mind. I lost all composure with his music. It was unbelievable. I would say my best moment of watching wrestling live since I've had the pleasure of going to some events. It was unbelievable. Yeah. So he was my number one. Jeff Hardy as well. Absolutely loved him. The Undertaker, The Rock, Stone Cold, all those guys. And as of now, I would say my favorite. Well, I'm wearing one of his tops. So yeah. So yeah, Roman Reigns, I'd say, is my number one, and seeing how he's grown with his last 3 years has been sensational. This is the version of him that we all knew that he could be, but now he's actually been given a chance to actually show that. He's just been brilliant. So he's my number one. Bianca, I love her, massive fan of hers as well. Finn Balor, AJ Styles. So yeah, so those are some of my favorites from right now.
Amazing. All right. Well, yeah. Well, thank you for joining us, Liam. That's brilliant. This has been a long time coming, and I think last time we met, last time I saw you, which wasn't that long ago, I don't believe. Were you at Cardiff?
I was. I saw you briefly at Clash. Yeah.
So briefly at Clash. And I think then I said I need to get you on the pod, and then
before that, I've been waiting for time, guys. I've been waiting for ages. But yeah, the time is
yeah, but we have you on now, so I'm glad you're here. Let's talk about everybody's weekend before we get into the actual main event and the main pay-per-view. Mex, please tell me about your Friday leading up to SmackDown, and then we talk about what you did on the Saturday when it comes to Money in the Bank.
I was very lucky to be given complimentary tickets by 2K. Obviously, WWE 2K guys, we're doing some work with them at Rest Things, and they gave us some tickets. We went to SmackDown. Really fun show. Good to be there. Obviously, it's the Money in the Bank energy, that transferred to the day before as well. That was good to kind of experience that with those guys as well. And then on the Saturday for Money in the Bank, unfortunately, we didn't get tickets. And obviously, you know how media goes. It's literally you have a few spaces for every kind of outlet sort of thing. So preempting that was going to happen, that us and the wrestling guys, we threw a watch party in Stoke Newington.
It's amazing, London. Man. And I'm glad it happened, because I remember last time you were going to do a watch party on unforeseen incident happened in Hackney, and you guys had to shut down. And funny enough, I actually, once that text and email went out, I think I was around the area and I saw the barricades and everything.
That was Royal Rumble. The building opposite where we threw the watch party fell down, basically. So obviously they just cordoned off the entire road the day before the Rumble, and we were like, oh my God. But everything's meant to happen for a reason. We, our fans and everyone that wanted to come through stayed true, and we done the Money in the Bank show, which was great. Had giveaways. Lady walked out with the WWE title, which she was well impressed of, and watching it just with fans, that's what it's all about. We enjoy it watching it in our house and stuff, but whether the stadium energy is unmatched, but kind of congregating as well somewhere, with fans as well, watching it is just as good. So yeah, we had a blast, and obviously we had a really good show to watch as well.
Big up to Rest Things, man. Follow them at Rest Things. They're doing great things when it comes to the podcasting world, especially in wrestling in the UK, and they are the future. So big them up all day. Scan, how was your weekend? How was your Friday? And I saw you for a glimpse on Saturday, which I'm really upset. I'm actually upset I didn't get to see you, Max, on Friday either. I was so busy that day. Things just ran out of time, and I just had to. And the reception wasn't great either, so I couldn't contact anyone. But Scan, how was your weekend?
Yeah, man, it's very, very hectic weekend, man. Got an album dropping tomorrow, so we're doing a lot of running around for that. Hey! Yeah, man. Book. Independence Day and all that. But yeah, man, I was not expecting to be at Money in the Bank at all. But God is good. Ended up there and had an absolute amazing time, man. My first experience of pay-per-view. Live in the flesh, and yeah, man, obviously seeing people like Reigns, Cena, it was literally mind-blowing, man. Had a great time. Got to meet a couple of wrestlers at ringside as well, which was great. Just a lot of fun, man. Really enjoyed the experience.
Awesome. That's brilliant, bro. And I did get to see you for a little glimpse, but we had to get
briefly.
And the time the press conference was so long. By the time we came out, it was like 12 already. But yeah, we had a really good weekend for Kick Out Podcast. Ace and I, we were able to go down to Canary Wharf Marriott Hotel and interview some wrestlers. We'll put some interviews I mean, they're already out on the YouTube channel for those who might have seen it, or if you haven't seen it, visit the Kick Out YouTube channel at the Kick Out. But I might put some audio interviews at the end of this review for you guys to enjoy. But it was nice. We had a nice chat with Shayna, Lena Vega, LA Knight. Who else was there? Santos Escobar, and I'm forgetting someone. But yes, we had a nice few conversations, and then we got to see SmackDown, which was cool. It was nice. It was a nice event. And then the next day was Money in the Bank. Let's talk about Money in the Bank, actually. So this was the first time Money in the Bank was in the UK, in London at the O2. Who was the winner last year of Money in the Bank? I can't remember now.
Austin Theory, the men's Money in the Bank.
Austin Theory was the men's, and the women
was Liv Morgan, and she cashed it in the same night.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, I think this probably. What did they say? Did this one broke records? Am I right about this one? This one surpassed all pay-per-view records.
Yeah, highest
revenue.
Highest grossing pay-per-view ever.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Ever.
I'm sure that's
yeah, I think Triple H said something along those lines. I mean, all I'm gonna say is we know in the past they've kind of said stuff about their figures, like that's a given.
Yeah.
And obviously the noisy neighbors are about to do their show, next month or so. So there's might be some truth in there or not, who knows, but it doesn't surprise me at the same time because their tickets are expensive. So
I was just gonna say some of those prices were astronomical, so yeah. I'm not surprised.
Very expensive, and if we're gonna keep it real, Liam, right, we saw some empty seats, right? It wasn't sold out. Let's be
really
honest. It wasn't.
There were a few empty ones, yeah.
So I don't know, I feel like there is, I'm not saying, I don't have any evidence to back this, but I do think that there's some ploy to make it out like Reigns is the number one box office smash. It helps his character, it helps his persona, and I think they kind of want to rewrite history. They could rewrite history by going on like he has outsold everyone, where they probably still ain't matching the same sellout figures as when Austin and The Rock was at their height. So I don't know. Who knows? I don't want to say that. I could be wrong. They could be totally telling the truth, and they could be making new numbers. WWE is still a crazy global company, and they probably are surpassing everything they've done before. So maybe I'm just an old bitter man who doesn't want to believe that. So, who knows? Let's go with the first match. Let's go to the Money in the Bank men's match. This was between Damian Priest, Butch, LA Knight, Logan Paul, Ricochet, Santos Escobar, and Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm going to go with you, Scan. Did you see the winner coming, and what did you think of this match?
I think like 90% of the crowd, man, I was definitely looking for LA Knight win, but I think in terms of storyline, they've obviously gone with the best choice, man. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all, man. I think Damian Priest is definitely a worthy winner.
Next, what did you think of the match itself?
The match was good. Good kind of way to start the show. High energy and some interesting characters in there. Like Scan said, the crowd were obviously firmly behind a certain individual winning that briefcase, but they made the right choice. Stop giving and mortgaging the company on moments. You made the right choice in terms of who you've actually been building on TV and who could be an actual world champion that we would believe. But yeah, the match itself, no issues with. Obviously, the little scary spot in there, Ricochet and Logan Paul.
But crazy.
Yeah, good to see that both men walked away relatively unscathed.
Liam, did you enjoy this match? And is there anything that happened in this match that stood out to you? I know Max just mentioned the spot between Ricochet and Logan Paul. Was there any other spots that you can remember from this match that stood out to you?
Yeah, I did enjoy it. It was, very exciting match. As Mex said, it was a great way to start the show, because I was wondering which match they would go with, because there's a few that I feel like they could have chosen, but they made the right choice in starting with the men's ladder match, I think. Yeah, that spot with Ricochet and Logan Paul was insane because at one point it's like they were trying to get their balance on the top rope, but they were kind of just struggling to kind of get their balance, and then I thought it could go a bit wrong here, but they managed to get it back together, and it was a great spot. In terms of other spots, there was a period where Ricochet, I think he jumped through a ladder outside.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable because that is quite a small gap to jump through, and he made it look so easy. So I would say probably that was probably the other one that stood out.
Is Ricochet the most athletic wrestler WWE's ever had?
That WWE's ever had. Yeah, he's definitely top 3. Yeah,
he probably is
consistently.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, great spot with that. I know there was a spot where I mean we didn't get to see him on camera. KSI was in the crowd. He was in one of the front rows, and he threw a bottle of Prime. It wasn't caught on camera, and he didn't really reference it or acknowledge it. But that would have been nice to see. It would have been nice to see KSI be a bit involved in this match too after his WrestleMania spot. But I guess the WrestleMania spot is a bigger one, I guess. Who else? Butch was great. Nakamura was great. LA Knight was entertaining. The crowd went crazy for him. I'm thinking of something. I believe I'm forgetting something that's happened here. Another spot that might have been quite. I think Escobar was brilliant as well. Big up to Escobar. He was very smooth in the ring. Probably the best in terms of in-ring. Probably Escobar. Wasn't there like a 450 splash from Ricochet? Yeah, Ricochet was kind of there. He was a shelter Benjamin.
Oh, and there was another spot. Logan jumped on Damian Priest because he was on a ladder. Jumped on him from the apron. Yeah, that was a good one as well.
But yeah, I agree with Scan. I think Damian Priest was the best decision, and I'm not gonna be. I didn't really call him before the match started. I didn't call him to win it. Now I'm thinking about it. I don't know why I didn't think of Damian Priest. That's kind of obvious when you think about it. LA Knight is too early for him. Logan Paul too early for him. Damian Priest the best choice. So well done to Damian Priest. Good for him, and I'm looking forward to seeing him. If he wins, if he cashes in successfully, he will be the second Puerto Rican WWE champion. Does anybody know who the first one is?
Pedro Morales?
Yes, Can. Pedro Morales. Yes.
I knew it was Pedro. I just didn't know if he was Puerto Rican. So I didn't want to be racist.
I hear that, mate. I hear that. Yeah. Yes, Pedro Morales was the first ever Puerto Rican WWE champion, a legend, great wrestler, and Damian Priest could be following, making history with him. Let's talk about the second match of the card, which was the women's tag team match between Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. This was actually a brilliant way to actually end off this match. Max, did you see this?
Was it though?
Okay, you could voice your opinion on why you might not think so, but yeah, what did you think of the match?
All right. I need to put the match to the side because I haven't even kind of taken in the match because of what happened, to be completely honest. Good to see all of these women get a spot. Good to see the women's tag championships on the pay-per-view. But this is exactly what I think the problem is. Ronda and Shayna are the only two people that can make people care about that title and have somewhat risen the prestige of it. They just went and unified it the other day against Isla Dawn and Kaylee Ray. Look, why are they splitting up? They have no division here. Like Raquel and Liv are two single stars put together for the sake of this title and the sake of keeping them busy. Now you split up the tag team champions that just unified the belts like 2 weeks ago to go put them into singles division. Now the new champions, who are they going to face? Like there's a matter of one or two other women's tag teams. And then in terms of what motivated it, like Ronda tagged herself in on Shayna. Shayna didn't like it. Shayna beat her up. Like, okay, we're making Shayna a killer. If that's what we're gonna do, I'm here for that. But that's kind of weak motivation for a whole heel turn. Like,
no, you're right. And it's like, it was shocking, and I loved it because I do want to see these two go at it, I guess, for SummerSlam. But if we're gonna keep being consistent in what we're trying to say that we want to see in WWE and wrestling or whatever, and we are thinking to ourselves, because before the match, I said, "Oh yes, this is going to be a good chance where I think there should be 3 streaks in wrestling: Reigns, Ronda Rousey, and Baszler, and I said Gunther. So this should be the Mayweather era. That's why I said that in another person's podcast. So I was all up for them to be a dominant tag team champion, and you're right. The tag team does need a strong division. And again, they're doing this all over again. So this proves that Sasha and Naomi was right. And then so you're right. Yeah, if you want to be consistent about what we want, that wasn't the best idea. But I'm going to fire this to Liam. Do you want to see Ronda and Shayna in SummerSlam?
Yeah, it's definitely a match that if it happens, that I would look forward to. It should be a really physical match. I feel like it could kind of be the female version of a little bit of what we saw with Lesnar and Goldberg. Like that style of match is what I feel like we could see with those two. But yeah, as far as the betrayal went, yeah, I was stunned. I did not see that coming at all. And as far as the motivation, maybe it's more than just what they showed us in that match. It could have been maybe Baszler has maybe been jealous of Rousey and the success that she's had since she's been in the WWE, whereas Shayna's kind of been struggling to sort of get to that level. Whereas in a few months, Ronda was women's champion. And then a year into her run, she was main event in WrestleMania, the first ever for the women. So if you look at it from that point, maybe it could be something that's built up in Shayna for a period of time. Why now it chose to blow over, we have no idea. But that is another way that I feel like you could look at it. But yeah, it was a very shocking thing that happened.
I agree with what Liam just said. That's probably what Shayna's going to come out on Raw or SmackDown and say is the motivation, which is absolutely fine. And I also want to see Ronda versus Shayna before their times are up.
Yeah.
But again, like Liam said, why here? Why now? We're just getting the women's tag team division, up somewhat, and new contenders and stuff. And even on NXT, Jakara Jackson, Lash Legend mentioned, we're coming after the tag team titles or something like just last week. Mentioned Ronda and Shayna, and now there's no more Ronda and Shayna. I can only imagine that maybe Ronda Rousey has said, "You see this wrestling thing after SummerSlam, I'm packing it up, I'm going home." And that might be it. Really,
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think that's what the rumor mill's saying, man. I think they're saying that basically they lost a lot of time because both of them were injured after Mania. So I think their tag team title reign was supposed to start earlier. So and then eventually they were supposed to feud, and then Ronda, I think she's kicking, man. But I think, you know what, history books are going to look back, man, and they're going to say, you know what, them women's tag team titles were just cursed. In the lineage of that title, man, it's just been insane. I don't think they've had anybody have a solid run with that belt. And the division's what it is, man. But I'm definitely looking forward to what Ronda and Baszler could do, man. If they could probably, have a cage UFC match, that might be quite sick as well.
Yeah, I think it would be good to see them do something different and maybe and pay them respects, show them the respect of kind of the badasses that they really are. They wouldn't really, if it was Brock Lesnar and another former UFC fighter, they would probably give them time to do some real genuine blows and stuff like that. I know they're women, so the people a bit, but let's not disrespect or patronize these women. These women are fighters too, and even if they give them a little bit of a shocking, actually let them actually hit each other for real. You know what I mean? Do something different. Do something that will entice the crowd to be interested in this, because otherwise it's going to be another match that nobody cares about. But we'll see what they do. Hopefully it'll be something. They book this match really well. Let's talk about the IC title match, Gunther versus Matt Riddle. Liam, I think we all knew Gunther was going to walk away retaining the belt. But what did you think of this match? And what did you think of a surprise comeback from a certain individual after the match?
Yeah, it was a really good match. I thought Riddle put up a good fight. I had a feeling, that in the end, Gunther would just be way too much for him. But, he definitely got his moves in. And as the sort of valiant babyface, I thought he played that role relatively well. But in the end, especially with him being injured, that was obviously going to be his weakness, and in the end, that was exploited, and he tapped out. So I think the match done what it was, what it should have done. Like it wasn't, I'd say, an amazing match or one of Gunther's best matches of his reign, but it served its purpose basically. And then, but yeah, the comeback from Drew was unbelievable. Yeah, it was great to see him back, and a one-on-one match with him and Gunther is definitely something that I would like to see happen. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Max, is it time for Gunther to surpass a certain reign?
What, Honky Tonk Man?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but he's got, I think he's got probably another 50 odd days. So you would think, you know, if he's gonna do it, he has to retain at SummerSlam, and then after that, that should be, you know, maybe by the next pay-per-view after that, Payback or something like that, he might be dropping it. He might have just surpassed it, sort of thing. But yeah, I think if Drew is staying in WWE, because obviously there's rumors that he might be on his way as well by the end of this year, this could be a good way for Drew to win. I think Drew could do with a big win here. And to be honest, Gunther's done leaps and bounds for that title. So him losing, dropping the title to a former WWE champion as well, I don't think it hurts Gunther as well. But to be honest, it does a whole lot for Drew right now if Drew is to kind of get a win over Gunther and have a little run with that IC title. But yeah, I kind of want to see him beat the record first, which would mean, you know, if Drew and Gunther have a match at SummerSlam, then Drew has to lose at first.
Scan, were you happy to see Drew McIntyre return?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. And it was one of those unpredictable rumors, man. If we never got that other surprise return, this is what everyone would be talking about right now, you know. And yeah, man, Drew looks good, man. He still looks like a killer, man. So I'm glad he hopefully have signed a career contract extension, man, and he's gonna stick around.
Yeah, his contract. I think his contract ends at the end of 2024, isn't it? Or maybe at the start of 2024. So nothing has changed in terms of his current deal, but he probably, yeah, it's just an extension for now, and until they might have to give him some Roman money, maybe. You think Drew will be getting some Roman money for him to stay? Can you guys see that?
He ain't Roman.
Good point.
Like Roman says, is his favorite number 2. If Roman can't go somewhere, Roman is too busy. Call Drew. Drew will go. Drew will do it.
Did Roman actually say that?
Yes,
I remember that. Yeah,
I'm next to said it.
That was a program between them two, right? When he said that, obviously.
Yeah.
I think it was Survivor Series maybe about 2 years ago, sometime in the pandemic.
Yeah.
My favorite number 2.
That is hilarious. Cody Rhodes versus Dominic Mysterio. This was a singles match. Just a few back, they had a few words back and forth on Raw to build up this match. Some good promo work. Let's go with Scan. Scan, what did you think of this match?
To be honest, man, this match could have just been a segment, or they could have just run it on Raw, man. It was nothing really. It was kind of by the numbers. I guess the rumor was that Brock was going to show up and maybe cost Cody the match, but I guess they didn't go with that plan. So it was just, it was pretty standard, man.
Max, do you think this was a good way of having Dominic have a match with a main eventer, like star in the business, to help him elevate his stardom, and also have Cody have a W in his role to be becoming champion down the line?
Yeah, that's all it was. It was literally like a tick box exercise, and just like Scan said, this could have been like a Raw main event at best. It didn't need to kind of be on a pay-per-view. But yeah, there's no harm in giving young Dominic some pay-per-view exposure. Cody's obviously a fan favorite, so people would have, been disappointed if he wasn't in London, to be completely honest. Yeah, but just bog standard. I mean, the rumors were like Brock Lesnar would be around to kind of remotivate what them two have been doing, and maybe that's how the SummerSlam match. Maybe Lesnar comes out on Raw. Maybe Lesnar just didn't want to get on a plane and come to London. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but that's probably the direction we're going in.
And Liam, what did you think of this? Did you enjoy these two in the ring together?
It was a decent match. Yeah, like it wasn't a bad match or anything, but like the guy said, it was just standard match. It was kind of just there really. Like if it wasn't on the cards, I don't think anybody would have been too upset. But as Max said, it was good to see Cody in London. It's the first time I've seen him live as well, and that entrance was just fantastic. So
Yeah,
just for the entrance alone, it was great that he was there. So yeah,
minus the pyro.
oh yeah. I'll tell you, it was just some flames, and I could actually feel them from my seat, which was really weird.
Yeah, they're really hot.
Yeah.
Flames are really hot, bro.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about the women's Money in the Bank match. Io Sky versus Bayley versus Becky Lynch versus Trish versus Alina versus Zoe. Now, who did everybody have going into this match? And
I had
to win.
Yeah.
Becky Lynch.
So Max had Becky. Dan, what did you have?
I had Io Sky, to be honest.
Okay. Good guess. Liam?
I had Sky or Vega, one of the two.
Okay. I had Trish.
Oh,
I don't think that's a bad guess.
Yeah, you know what it is? Realistically, it made sense that it is Io Sky. And we all know who's going to catch it on. And we all know who's going to cash it on. And it's not going to be a cash in. It's going to be a cash in / match. And it's going to be at Mania. And it's going to be crazy. And we'll get to that in a minute. But I thought, why would you have Trish in this match if she's not going to win it? I thought maybe they're going to give her like a legendary last hurrah. You win the title one last time. And because she's probably the best talker out of everyone in that ring. We thought she'll make another chicken shit heel going forward. But no. Good call, though, regardless. All right, let's talk about the match itself. Liam, what did you think of this match and Io Sky winning it?
I thought it was great. I would say that's probably one of the best women's Money in the Bank ladder matches that they've done. There's a lot of great spots. I feel like each of them had their moment, and the finish was quite creative with the handcuffs and then having Io just climb over them and win. And then teasing a little bit of some more tension with Sky and Bayley, which I think was done quite well. So yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I think they picked the right winner. Trish would have been great, especially for me because she was my favorite growing up, and then just to even see her live was incredible. So for her to win it, it would have been great, but I just thought that the fact she's already won the title, like 7 times, she's already a legend. It's not like she needed it.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel as though she was in the match because it was something that she hadn't previously done, and it was a way for her to kind of get that experience and have another thing on her resume that she's done. And then what they done with her and Bayley as well. With her and Lynch. It seems like they'll be doing more going forward as well. So the right winner was picked, and I think they continued more storylines as well with the others. So yeah, really well done.
Max, what did you think of the finish?
Superb.
Yeah,
absolutely superb. I thought by once I clocked, because you know what, when they tried to put Becky against a ring post or something like that, and obviously she got her way out of it, and no word of a lie, I kept shouting to the man them, she needs to close the handcuff, because the handcuff was still open. I said close the handcuff. The handcuff wasn't closing. It's almost like I knew this was going to play into the finish. And then obviously her and Bayley were going up, and then Io closing it on both of them around Bayley's wrist and then climbing over. I was literally standing ovation, clapping Io all the way to the top, knowing that Becky was my prediction. I literally watched her climb to the top, and I was clapping her all the way. I thought it was so good. Coming from a place where, 2 months ago or so, people were pretty annoyed with the Cody and Brock end, with Brock putting him in the Kimura lock and him passing out and blah blah blah. Like, they can do fantastic finishes. This was very well thought of. I personally don't think Io Sky needed the briefcase. Like, a match between her and Asuka can just happen. Like, I don't know if she's got, I guess, traditionally what it takes week to week to make the briefcase exciting, if you see what I mean, the usage of the briefcase. They usually, well, to be honest, in usual fact with the women, they cash it in same day or cash it in or during the week of the following the pay-per-view. So hopefully we're not getting no fast cashing like that now. It's gonna be, you know, her taunting Asuka or whatever the case may be. Bayley's obviously gonna come for her first, probably the SummerSlam match. But yeah, this finish was excellent.
Scan. Io Sky is now the 2023 Money in the Bank Women's winner. I guess that's the way to say it. Who is she going to cash it on? You're on mute, by the way. You're on mute.
Sorry. I think the money's on Io Sky and Asuka, man. That match is like everything, you know. Same way as Rhea versus Bianca Belair, you know. So that's what I really want to see. Let me ask you a question, Skillet, man. Do you think that Io's got like the best entrance music at the moment? Like when you hear that live?
I feel out of the women, it's up there, arguably up there. I mean, I even thought that back when I used to watch NXT avidly. I don't watch NXT as much anymore, but when she was in NXT and that entrance was crazy, you know, and I mean, you know, yeah, she's got definitely one of the best entrance regards of the women. I mean, if you talk about the whole company as a whole, don't think it's up there. It's probably top 30 probably, but in terms of the women in that division of the women division, yeah, it's definitely up there.
Yeah, definitely bangs live, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I think it's a no-brainer. I don't think anybody. It's not going to be.
Yeah, they've teased it a couple of times and they've done it on like house shows and that, man. But that match is going to be
exactly. And then the argument they've had in Japanese and all that. It's definitely, and it's not gonna. She's not gonna do the coward way out when she cashes it in secretly. She's going to. But it's great. I don't know if you guys watched the press conference after Money in the Bank. They are teasing this little rift between her and Bayley. Bayley was she was amazing at the press conference. Liam, you were with me at the press conference.
Yeah, it was great.
and they're doing this thing. It kind of reminds me of Bulldog and Owen. When Bulldog and Owen were a tag team at the Hart Foundation and they were like, Owen was very jealous of Bulldog's success and acted like he was his friend. And I could see Brady pulling that off. Like, yeah, it's our Money in the Bank. Yeah, and they were like, yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
They've been teasing it for a while, like the breakup of Damage Control. So yeah, this was obviously another spanner in the works. You saw Bayley during the match actually push Io Sky off the ladder or push her down. So they're gonna have words, and this is probably the SummerSlam match between these two, which I think would be great. It's just for me to see is Asuka gonna hold this title now until WrestleMania?
I hope so. She deserves it. She deserves it. I know. I don't think Bianca Belair should have lost it. I don't think she should have lost it when she lost it.
I agree with you. Yeah.
But now that she has lost it, give it to Asuka. Let Asuka have a long reign. She's never had a long reign before. She shouldn't have lost to Charlotte in the first place. No disrespect to Charlotte. Charlotte is outstanding, and you know it made sense at the time, I guess, because they want to make Charlotte to be the main woman. But I felt like Asuka was red hot with that streak, and it kind of killed her momentum completely. So now build her back up, make her that long-term champion, and she will just drop the belt to Io. I think that's a beautiful way for her to lose the title, Io Sky.
I don't think, not that I don't think WWE care about this either, but I don't think there's enough legs in the division for it to be. Like, think about it right now. We've got Charlotte and Bianca right now in July trying to get this title from Asuka. They're probably going to have a triple threat at SummerSlam, right? Who else is in the SmackDown Women's division that's going to carry Asuka's title run between now and April next year?
You know what? Max is right. It's going to be Asuka Io Sky at SummerSlam.
It might be as early as SummerSlam. It might be then. It's going
to be Mania now.
Mania is so far away, and the division is so thin. Like, I don't want to see title matches at Payback as well. Yeah, they're going to give up Asuka versus Shotzi at Payback for the women's
title. You're right.
Respectfully, like,
no, you're right. I apologize. You're right. I don't know what I was thinking.
I mean, they might go all the way to Mania. It's
you're right, bro. It's not going to, because they don't even have that much belief in her like that. They know how great of an asset she is, and they know that Asuka's got a mad following, but they are not going to. They're not. And then obviously, if Io wins it now, that still gives it legs for her to still have this feud with Bailey. Bailey could be her mouthpiece. Do you know what I mean? Instead of doing a quick Bailey versus Io at SummerSlam, it will probably be. Yeah,
it's
right.
crazy. All the top contenders for that title are kind of all interconnected right now already. If it's not Io that's got the briefcase and Bailey doing their thing, then obviously Charlotte and Bianca are swarming around Asuka right now. So outside all of these 5 women that I've mentioned, there's actually no one else that we could believe could be involved, be a contender between now and March, April next year. So that's the funny bit that I don't know if they're gonna, really invest. But to be honest, Roman hasn't defended his title since WrestleMania. I know it's a different case, but they may just go long periods without Asuka defending it just so they can get to WrestleMania.
And I'm wondering if they're doing a similar thing with Rhea on Raw, because I feel like since she's won the championship, we haven't really seen her in action much either. And outside of Becky Lynch, and I would also say Raquel Rodriguez, there aren't really many sort of legit or significant threats to her either. Yeah, so there's a lot of work that has to go in there.
Well, don't worry, Liam. You're gonna get Natalia versus Rhea Ripley tonight for the championship.
Why did you remind me? I forgot all about that one, man. Oh my goodness! I hope she squashes her again. I really hope she squashes her again. When she beat her Night of Champions in 2 minutes, I was like, that is exactly how it needed to happen. Mm-hmm. Now it's happening again. You're going to squash her again?
She has to.
I hope so, yeah.
Big up all the guys we did media with, Liam. Big up Alex McCarthy, Joe Ballantyne, the guys from Talk Sport, BT Sport. The list goes on. There's so many people to think of, like, the video. But the reason why I brought that up was because I was sat next to, when I was watching Money Back, to Alistair McGeorge, who's a journalist for the Metro. He writes a lot of wrestling articles. And I was chilling with him. I mean, him go way back as well. We do a lot. I've met him a few times through the media throughout the years. We had a nice chat. And I when this match finished, I turned to him and I said to him, "Wait, how many matches are left?" And he said the World Heavyweight title and the tag team match between the Bloodline. Mm-hmm. I said, "Well, they're going to fill it in with a segment, aren't they?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Isn't John Cena in Croydon? Is he not filming a film in Croydon?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, you're right." And I was like, "Nah, he probably won't. He's probably too busy to turn up." And all you hear was da, 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 da. John Cena shows up. John Cena shows up. Liam, I know you lost your mind. I'm sure everybody lost their mind. How special was this for you, Liam?
I felt like a little kid again. I'm going to be honest. With all those years we're watching him, and I never thought, especially now with him not wrestling so much, I didn't think I would get that chance to see him live, and especially not here in the UK. So I'm just sitting there chilling, just waiting for the next segment. When his music hit, I'm telling you, I literally lost it. I went crazy. It was an unbelievable thing. Like, I'm so glad that they kept that kept it secret, because the reaction was just insane. And I had no idea that he was in London, so I didn't know anything. So It was literally a complete and utter shock. But honestly, the best moment. It was so good to see him, and just to do a promo, give us the AA. That's all I wanted. So it was great. It was really good.
It reminds you of a similar pop to when Hogan came out at Mania 21 against Muhammad Hassan. You remember that?
Oh right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that? I wonder if
I did, yeah. But yeah, this moment was just insane. Like, I'm really pleased that we, as UK fans, got to see a legend, and then him push for us to get a WrestleMania as well, which is long overdue.
Yeah, man. WrestleMania in London looks like it could be a possibility. Cena would come out and say that if this wasn't something they are really strongly considering. Max, I'm going to ask you, Mania at London, what are we doing, pal?
Yeah, they need to run it. Like, for me, you see this segment, I don't want to poo-poo it, but like, he came out, it was brilliant energy, like, great to see Cena. No matter what you think about him, this is mega star energy for real. Like, this is a Hollywood actor at this point. You see what I mean? Like, it's great to see him, and I would have much preferred if this was like you're almost teasing that it's gonna happen, as opposed to mentioning London, kind of dropping it, and then but nothing's actually concrete, or so we think. Nothing's actually concrete. The tease wasn't bad. Then obviously Grayson Waller came out, and Grayson Waller was fantastic. I felt he went toe to toe. He stayed up with a vet like Cena. But they just went on and on talking about WrestleMania in Australia, talking about it. Like, big man, like, you either come out, get the crowd pumped, tease that, yeah, we need WrestleMania in London, and then bye, like, done. You see what I mean? Like,
I wanted him to be out there for as long as he could, so I was loving it. I'm gonna be honest.
I just felt, you know what? I felt like it's like you come out to do a segment, but like, what was the goal? Like, I didn't feel like much was achieved apart from like half a tease, obviously burying or FUing what's this guy or AA, sorry, Grayson Waller, and then that was it. Like, just wanted a bit more, I guess, and more snappy.
Scan, do you feel the announcement at Wembley from All In AEW could maybe consider WWE to think about doing bringing back a pay-per-view in Wembley Stadium, maybe, if it's in London?
Oh, 100%, man, 100%. Them man are too competitive to let that one slide. They can't have, because they know that AEW is going to be doing the biggest numbers, and to them that's a liberty considering how long WWE has been doing events in London. So it's obvious power play that's happening right there.
Okay, interesting. And okay, cool. Let's move on to the next segment. I think it's self-explanatory that we're all going to be there if it does happen, and we're all excited if it does happen. So let's keep it moving. Let's talk about the World Heavyweight title between Seth freaking Rollins and Finn Balor. I'm going to go to you, Scan. What did you think of this match? Did you think Finn had a chance, or did you know this was Seth all day?
Do you know what? I really wanted Finn to win this, man. I'm not going to lie, but obviously it was obvious that he's too early into his championship run, man, to hotshot that belt. And like you said, Hunter likes long title reigns. So but other than that, it was a good match. It's amazing to see in person how over Seth Rollins is, man. Like, if he never came back in between those ropes, they would have still been singing his entrance music up until now. Like, that's how crazy it was, But yeah, he's ridiculously over. Like, and yeah, the match itself was great, man. It was absolutely great. It was smooth.
Max, what did you think of Seth retaining the title? And also, there's another controversial opinion some people were having on that weekend. People were saying that Seth wouldn't be over as much as he is now if it wasn't for that theme song. Do you agree?
I mean, good theme songs always help, but Seth Rollins is the best wrestler in the company. Let's have it right. Like, he's the one person in this company that's entering conversations of who's the best in the world, sort of thing. So yeah, I don't buy it that it's just a theme song. In terms of the match, personally, I don't feel like these guys got out of second gear. Maybe there's more from them both to come down the road. Maybe a SummerSlam match, they run it back. With Damian Priest winning the briefcase, I was literally saying, maybe not here, it would have been a bit too obvious, but by SummerSlam, because that's the symmetry of, the 7 years since the Universal title match between Finn Balor and Rollins. Finn Balor should pin him. Finn Balor should become world champion. And I don't want to see a quick cash in from Damian on that night either. They could do it, and then, Damian wins, and then it's still 1 day since, Finn Balor's ever held a world title, 1 day with the Universal title, 1 day with the World Heavyweight title. That could be good. But I think there's more money in a longer term story of Judgment Day still running, Damian Priest having the briefcase in Judgment Day, and Finn Balor being world champion in Judgment Day. And it's like this tension of when is Damian going to do it with these guys. I think there's a lot of money in that. So this match, the Damian coming out as well, and like that distracting Finn, I just thought it was a bit of a weak kind of cop out, but at the same time, it signaled to me that there's probably more to come between these three men with the briefcase and the world title and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay. Liam, what do they do with Finn next after losing to Seth? Does he have a rematch, or does he move on?
It's a difficult one because I do agree with what Mex said in terms of I don't think they got out of second gear. They could do so much more, and the ending did feel a little bit flat, to be honest. So because of that, it kind of led me to believe that he may get one more shot. Especially as Finn will probably say that old Priest distracted me, so on and so forth. So I do think there's a possibility that he may have another match with Seth for the title at SummerSlam, especially as Mex said, with it being 7 years since the Universal Championship match, it would make sense for them to have another world title match at SummerSlam 7 years on. So that's what I would like to see happen, and then possibly Priest cash in the briefcase, and then yes, it will still be one day that Finn has had a world title, and then they can Priest and Balor can have a story going from there. So that's what I would like to see happen, but I'm not sure if that's the road that WWE will go down. I think they'll keep the Judgment Day together for a bit longer. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to the main event. We saw a great, one of the best vignettes promo packages that we've done in a long time for a well-deserved storyline that spanned over 3 years of the bloodline, Roman Reigns, and his fallout with his cousins, the Usos. Brilliant stuff. That vignette was brilliant. The whole stadium, I know Scan and Liam, you can see that. I'm not lying when I say this. The whole stadium was standing watching that vignette in awe. And there was people. There was a row of people. There was some Australian people that came down. I could tell maybe two of them. It was three people. There was two guys and one woman. The woman doesn't really know wrestling that well. I think she probably knew like stars back in the day, basically. And there was one guy that definitely was a big fan, and not so much now. And there's one guy that's up to date. And all three, I was just watching them to see their reaction, and they were all just watching like crazy and clapping. And the woman was clapping, like she's like, "Oh, this is great!" This shows how amazing that story really is. Before we talk about this match, where do you guys rank this storyline with the all-time greats? I would say I'm going to open it up to the two biggest companies in American wrestling history. So I'm going to exclude ECW. ECW does some great storytelling, but in regards of WCW and WWE, where do you guys rank this story? Is it a top 3 storyline? What do you guys think?
Me personally, it's top 2. Especially when I'm thinking of the vignette that you mentioned as well. I'm thinking obviously Rock and Austin, the My Way vignette, that's probably right up there. Yeah. Like, this is incredible. As many people have said, this is cinema. Yeah. Like we've left wrestling at this point. Like, this is a feature film.
To quote Vince McMahon in Beyond the Mat, we make movies.
Literally. And kudos to him. He started, he was here in the beginning when this began. Obviously, he's in and around the place now. But yeah, for me personally on that question, this is top 2 that I've seen in my lifetime.
Scan, I'll come back to you. I'm going to go to circle to Liam first, because I know Liam's a bit younger than us. So Liam, we just want you to answer from your perspective, from what you've seen throughout the years. Do not worry about knowing about WCW, but what have you seen throughout the years? Where do you rank this story?
It's tough, man. It's tough. Of course, it's definitely up there. I would probably say maybe top 3. And I'd say I'd have that along with Brock and Austin and Austin Vince.
Okay.
So I would probably have it in the top 3. Yeah, but it's a difficult one because there's been a few.
Scan?
I've been a wrestling fan for a ridiculous length of time in my life, and I've seen some amazing storylines, but bar none, this attention to detail, throwbacks. Like, if they try and tie in the fact that Jey Uso was the first person to pin Roman Reigns 10 years ago, if they tie all of that in, bro, nothing's coming close to this, bro. Like, attention, like, even in the match, bro, there was like throwbacks to like when he kicked out and hit him in the groin, all of these little nuggets.
Yeah.
Like, even after the match where you just saw Roman outside of the ring just talking, and only a few people that I don't even think that was televised, but it's like little touches like that. It's just, bro, come on.
I totally agree. That the reason why I posed that question is because I've never seen anything like this. Like it's insane. Like from the nuances, the details, the references. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. They don't sugarcoat it. They don't spoon feed you. You just gotta be an avid watcher, and you just gotta know what I go on. If you don't get it, that's tough luck. You know what I mean? And I love that kind of writing. My top three, and I think the Bloodline storyline has to pass the other two now. Is Bloodline NWO first year. When I say first year, 96 to the end of 97. If anybody has the time to go back and watch that,
the world class stuff.
Oh my God, like amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
Austin McMahon, it's up there. I would say Austin McMahon / The Rock because I think The Rock just took that into another level. That's my top three. But then you got Savage and Hogan, all these great stories. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I think none of them. If you're talking about a realistic take on how things fall out, family fall out, and jealousy and being controlled and abuse, and it's.
Can I tell a quick story?
Yes, please.
I have a friend went to obviously WrestleMania 39 earlier this year, LA. I had a friend that said, "Yeah, I'll come along for the ride. It's LA, isn't it?" He came to WrestleMania. He watched. He really enjoyed Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio. We were saying it's like a telenovela. Like that was brilliant at WrestleMania. And then obviously he enjoyed the Roman Cody stuff and the interference and everyone getting involved, the drama that was, right? Since we came back, this guy's been watching wrestling. Wasn't a wrestling fan before. He has been watching WWE. Let me say WWE, not wrestling. He's been watching SmackDown, Raw, checking in with me. Oh, this happened. Literally everything, every week, right?
That's amazing.
I'm like, we've made a wrestling fan here. I'm gonna introduce him to other stuff, but I'll let you leave him. I don't too much too soon. Enjoy what you're enjoying. He's currently in Nigeria. He watched Money in the Bank because of this storyline. He messaged me after Money in the Bank, and he said, "This is better than EastEnders on Christmas Day." And wrestling is pulling in people that didn't even know what wrestling was before. Because
I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised that there's been so many wrestling fans made out of this story. I would not be surprised. Because that's how we became wrestling fans. We got certain stories that drew us in, and we became in. And if you're going to have the best storyline ever written in history, it definitely has adopted a whole wide range of fans. So kudos to the Bloodline. Let's talk about this main event. What a match this was. What a way to, I'm not going to say end the story because I know we still have more to go, but a great way to end. No, I would say it's like phase 4.
It's chapter.
It's phase 4 of the MCU. Phase 4 finished. Now we're on to phase 5 now, the Bloodline. Usos versus Solo, Sikoa, and Roman Reigns. I'm going to go to Mex first because the reason why I always go to Mex first when it comes to Roman Reigns' story, he was rooting for Reigns, but it wasn't cool to root for Reigns. So let's go, Mex. Talk to me about your emotions about it.
Early doors. My blind faith is being repaid every time I turn on the TV.
100.
Yeah, this match was
next. My blind faith was on Velveteen Dream. Look at how that went out. Anyway, keep going.
he we shall not talk about. Yeah, like, you know what? Now in hindsight, it makes sense that who WWE tell us is the greatest tag team of all time won the match. Like it makes total sense at this point. It was very good to see these lot get their lick back after everything they've been through, the emotion in the story, tagging people in, Roman and his acting, the maniacal laughing. I absolutely just love it. Just not taking anything seriously. They're still brewing the little tension between him and Solo. There's a little wedge there at the minute. Paul Heyman on the outside, just selling every little thing with his expressions and at times his confidence, his cockiness. And then, you know, like Scan said, the callbacks, the low blows, and you know, the little, there was a tribute in there to, I can't remember who it was.
The Rock, wasn't it?
Yeah, the double rock
Yeah,
bottom,
the double rock
bottom. Jimmy done this bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Like all of that was in there as well. And then, you know, the selfless act of, you know, what turned out to be the finish. Them getting rid of Solo, it just proves now when you're alone, you are bound to lose this title because we've been helping you defend it between the Usos, Solo, super kick to Solo, super kick to Roman. Roman laid out, big splash onto Roman. He takes the pin against Jey Uso. Jey Uso pinning him, like Scan said, 10 years, or sorry, was it 2013? Yeah, when they were first all on the main roster together. Just that symmetry's there as well. Jey Uso has been the catalyst of all of this. Like Roman obviously came back and they put him in a brilliant position from day one, but Jey Uso is like being 1A and 1B in terms of this entire story. And no matter how many times he's gone away and come back and gone away and come back, like this was him, like the vindication of it all. And yeah, he's got the pin. That's probably going to motivate a world title match between these two at SummerSlam. And then, of course, we saw the fallout, Roman basically crying. And I must say, I saw people online saying, oh, look at this acting. And, you know, he's going over the top and WWE makes me sick. This is someone that hasn't been pinned in 3 years that, you know, he's saying, you know, this means everything to me. Why wouldn't he scream and shout and all of that stuff? Like, you see what I mean? Like,
I kind of wish Roman, I agree. Like, I don't think it was that bad as people say it was. I kind of wish he went mad like Bret Hart and started smashing cameras.
I mean, that's ultimately what he did without the violence, isn't it? Like, is the over the top.
Do that when he loses the championships.
Yeah, you're right.
Even in the match, quickly, sorry. Even in the match when we saw him do the double pin to both of them and they kicked out, and how he kind of lost himself, and it was Solo saying, "What's my man on? Get up! Like you have to get on with it." You see what I mean? Like it shows he's got that emotional vulnerability in his character. So. Yeah, I think, you know, the match wasn't like anything, you know, 5 stars or anything like that. But it didn't have to be because this story is what's carrying this entire thing. And yeah, they done a good job. And like I say, this chapter's kind of closed now. We'll see what happens from SummerSlam. And then Solo, I guess, is the last piece as to where his loyalties are going to lie.
Liam, is this Jey Uso's breakout moment? Solo-wise? No pun intended.
I'd say so. Yeah. I feel like he'd already shown signs that he has what it takes to be a great solo guy right from the beginning when he had the feud with Roman over the Universal title. Like even from then, there were signs that he is able to sort of, you know, play his part in the feud and carry it, you know, on his own. But yeah, 3 years later to see how he's grown and for the story to sort of come full circle and him get the pin for Roman to be pinned for the first time in 3 years, 10 years after pinning him for the very first time, you know, you can't write it better than that. And yeah, it was just but because as Mex said, the story is so powerful, the match didn't need to be this, you know, 5-star match of the year contender, even though there's some people who probably would think that it still was, but there was no pressure for the match itself to be that great. It's just that the story just had to continue in that way, and the crowd as well played their part. How they got on Roman's nerves, how annoyed he got. It was great. So yeah, it was a real blessing to be in the arena to watch that live. And yeah, I'm just so excited to see where this goes next. It looks like it will be Roman versus Jey at SummerSlam for the titles. So I hope that's the road that they go down. But yeah, it was just great to be there and to see him get the pin and to see Jimmy's face. It's almost like the shackles just came off because they've been under all this pressure, and then to finally get the win over their cousin who's been treating them so badly. It was just a great way to continue the story, man. So yeah, it was brilliant.
Scan, Jey versus Reigns, right decision at SummerSlam. If that does happen, we'll find out on SmackDown what's going to happen. But is that the right decision?
Oh, 100%, man. 100%. You know, story-wise, it's funny actually. When you was talking, it kind of gave me the build up to WrestleMania, and they done the skit from, was it Goodfellas? When it was like when he was doing the facial expressions in that, I was just like, I can't unsee that now. Like every single Roman Reigns, he gives me that vibe every time.
But he's half Italian. You know, he's half Italian as well, so that's even better.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
He's half Italian.
Yeah, I think one of the questions is like people saying that, is he gonna like replace the Usos and bring in some more from the bloodline or something like that in the future, if that's a possibility. But in terms of like the match, I think the great thing about the storyline is it elevates people. So it's kind of like elevated Sami Zayn from mid-carder to main eventer. It's kind of done the same for Jey Uso as well. He's considered a main eventer now, you know, and the Usos' greatest tag team of all time. Since this storyline, you know, so it's done a lot there's so many layers, and I think that would be an amazing. I think they could probably go on last at SummerSlam.
Definitely. Max, do you know if the Gorillas of Destiny, do they still have a contract with New Japan? Are they free agents?
No, they're still with New Japan. Tamatonga's still there. I think his brother Tangaloa's injured at the minute, but I let this rest. Once it's done with these main characters, leave it alone. Like, we don't need no NWO Wolfpack situation here. Like, just call it a day and leave it as, you know, in the conversation of one of the greatest stories.
I agree. You're right. And then I'm assuming if Reigns does beat Jay, he will lose the title to Cody at Mania. Cody Reigns Part 2.
Yeah, that's probably the plan. I would love the moment of Jey Uso beating Roman, but I think that's surely what it is. It's just a moment because
I mean, we kind of got that on Saturday.
Yeah. I don't believe like they will do what it takes to book Jey as a good champion. Someone I must have said something along these lines on Twitter, and someone then suggested that let Jey win it at SummerSlam, and then Roman wins it back at Royal Rumble. And then, you know, loses to Cody at WrestleMania. I wouldn't mind that. You know, Jey has a little run. I'm sure they can probably book him well for 4 or 5 months or 4 months or something like that. But generally, I think this was Jey's shining moment. He'll get a SummerSlam main event out of it as well. But then, normal business will resume.
Well, listen, that was a terrific pay-per-view. We're going to come close to this podcast. But before we do, let's rank this pay-per-view out of 5. I'm going to go with Liam first, our guest. Liam, what do you rank this Money in the Bank pay-per-view out
of 5? I'd probably say 4. You know, great pay-per-view. I think what would have made it a 5 for me was, I think, just if the World Heavyweight Championship match had a better finish, and just for the moment, if Knight had won the briefcase. I think those two things would probably have made it a 5. But but I would say 4. You know, it was a really great show.
Scan.
I'm gonna go Dave Meltzer with this, man. It's gonna get a 4.35 or something like that. 4 3/4 stars. I thought it was brilliant. I understand the method with WWE when they book things. They just can't give you everything at once, you know. And I understand SummerSlam's the major pay-per-view. This is just a stopgap in reality. So I mean, and we got more than enough, man. Like John Cena wasn't expected, and to me that was a bonus, you know. And I thought it was great. It was entertaining from beginning to end.
Next.
I feel like I'm the bad guy here. I'm gonna give it 3.5, if I can, 3.75. Like, what? I felt it was, I think it was a really, like, it was a good pay-per-view, right? But obviously we've been watching all these pay-per-views, and if we're completely honest with ourselves, and a lot of people have acknowledged this last kind of string of these pay-per-views or PLEs have been brilliant. Like, all of these PLEs that have happened, maybe since Triple H took over, or maybe just before Triple H took over, like, they've been really, really good. And I genuinely think this has been the weakest of them all. Not to say Money in the Bank was rubbish. I'm not saying that. It was a good show. I just think this was the weakest of them all. And those are the ones we've rated 4.5, close to 5s, if not that. So, for me, the main event was, you know, full the story. The action I would say, I want to say lackluster, but it wasn't all there. But like I say, it didn't need to be. The World Heavyweight Championship match, yeah, definitely could have got more out of that, I think. And the John Cena segment, it was just a bit too long and plodding for me. Like, as great as it was to see him, I just felt like, I don't know what he done for you. Obviously, in the stadium, it must have been brilliant for you guys. But I feel like
but you're not wrong. Even in the stadium, I know Liam was marking out 24/7. Even in the stadium, there was a part where I was like, "Raw, they're still talking."
Yeah.
AA, bro, just drop the AA and leave.
And done. Yeah. So I think
right. When you said that's why I was laughing when you said that, because I was like, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, and then maybe for me that tag team match with the women, it's just
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, 3.5, but still a good show that I would watch back. And yeah, just the PLEs have just been on fire recently. So this is, like I say, probably the weakest of them all.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. It was a very, very, very strong pay-per-view. You are right. A lot of competition compared to the other pay-per-views they had this year. They've been smashing it like all around. And if WWE continues to keep putting on great shows in different countries and they consistently maintain this, they're unstoppable, man. That's like, you can't really like that. I think that's more difficult than doing it state to state. You can go to the country and then keep smashing it. Like they need to go to Mexico. I spoke to Sam Escobar about this.
Yeah,
they need to give Mexico the respect it deserves. I mean, it was all good that he did it in Puerto Rico, and that was great. But Mexico, come on, man, like a huge pillar when it comes to professional wrestling. So do a show in Mexico. I think they're a bit shook in Mexico. You know? so them act a bit wild, you know what I'm saying? So we'll see.
Do you know what's interesting now? I just want to make one quick last point. Cena brought it up about the UK crowds can be a bit take over the show. And then I noticed Hunter mentioned in the press conference about, you know, some of the charts were a bit like adult orientated.
You asked that question to Cody. You asked that question to Cody about how did you feel about the crowd chants and taking over the show. But yeah, sorry, Scott, not to cut you off. What were you going to say?
Yeah. And I remember thinking that in the crowd, because obviously being in the audience, I was like, right, that's a bit ECW, man. I was like, fuck you, Roman, like constantly, and there was kids everywhere. I was like, oh my god. So I don't know what you think about it, because I know that's the norm in AEW. But I mean, what do you think about that coming out in WWE?
Yeah, I mean that's always kind of, there's always been certain places, states in America and certain countries that they will go to that will have that rabid fan base that are very familiar to New York crowd, Philly crowd, Chicago crowd, who kind of like-minded in wrestling knowledge and wrestling viewership, and that would kind of react the same type of chants. So I think they knew coming to London that was going to have, they were going to face those issues, if you want to call it an issue. You know, so
it's a fake issue because ultimately they've had the whole company here. They had NXT UK here.
That's right.
And they've been doing events here for donkey's years. So it's a fake thing to kind of say, oh yeah, the UK fans are a bit rabid, aren't they? But you're gonna come back, you're gonna say, oh, we have the biggest gates, we made the most money over here. And ultimately, because it's a PLE, it's not on TV. It's on their own platform or on Peacock or wherever. So yeah, it's filled with kids, but you know, it's not like they have to answer to anybody because you know it's on their own platform. So
exactly, and they don't control what the crowd say. Yeah, and plus, to prove Max's point, some of their biggest shows have been in the Madison Square Garden. You're not going to get more of a rabid crowd than New Yorkers. Never. Yeah. No one's going to ever top New Yorkers with rabid crowds. They're going to say far more worse things that we heard on Money in the Bank. So they're used to this.
These are the people that say, you know, a reaction is better than no reaction.
Yeah.
Whether you cheer or boo or whatever the case is, like as long as you're reacting, they're doing a good job. So allow our people to keep reacting. Thank you very much.
Well, listen, we're going to sign off. Thank you guys for joining us today. In fact, Liam, special thank you to you. Thank you for joining us. We would love to have you more on the show. We're going to go around and give some socials. But Liam, can you start off? Where can people find you if they want to hear more takes from you or see your work when you talk about wrestling and your articles and any sport-related stuff that you do?
Right. Do I remember the names of my socials? Right. So, on Instagram, you can find me at Liam L96. And my Twitter name, I believe, is Liam _L96. Yeah.
Right, that is correct. I just double checked it here for you. Scan. Where can people find you? Buddy?
Yeah. On Instagram and all social media, you can find me at Scandouz, which is SKANDOUZ. And also on the Connoisseurs of Hip Hop, you can reach me there too. Make sure you go out and stream the new album, 10 Days Hidden in Plain Sight, and yeah, all that good stuff.
Thank you very much, Scan. And Mex, last but not least.
Yeah, WrestleManiac UK on all platforms, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. And if you want to see what myself and the gang get up to, the weekly podcast and some of our other shows, that's Rest Things, again, on all platforms.
And I just read something on Twitter.
What?
So I went on Twitter because I was trying to help. I was going to see if I could help you with your thing, but you already said the day before I saw it. And then I saw trending, The Rock. Oh, okay. I click on it, and it's Kevin Nash.
Oh, yeah, what he said.
And he says, am I the only one who thinks that LA Knight is a complete rip-off of The Rock? Yeah! You can follow me at TheKickoutPodcast and at Skillet World, SKILLIT World, on all social platforms. We'll start to do more content. I've been getting an earful from some Kickout fans all week because it's Money in the Bank week. About doing new episodes, and we haven't discussed that. I'm not going to make any promises, but yes, more shows will be happening, especially around pay-per-views. Definitely, that's definitely right. Yeah, thank you everybody who always supports, and we'll see you soon.
Amazing. Take care. Peace.
Take care, guys. Thanks for having me.